I'm Teresa, and this is day 51 of my summer break, and I read you chapter 5 of Amelia, Bedelia. So that sailed yesterday, so today I'll read you chapter 6. Chapter 6, Pearl comes out of her shell. The next morning, Jason was impossible to pry out of bed. The only thing that worked was the aroma of his mother's waffles. As she served him a second helping, Aunt Mary made an announcement. "Jason," she said, "guess what? You know how every summer you bug me for sailing lessons? Well, the woman who helped us in the store yesterday told us that her daughter has her own sailboat and sometimes teaches kids to sail. Do you know her? I signed you two up. Apparently she's shy, but once she starts talking about boats, she comes out of her shell." Amelia Bedelia was wary. And the last thing that had come out of its shell had clamped onto her ear. "I hope she isn't crabby," said Amelia Bedelia to her waffles. "This girl must be tiny if she could fit into a shell." Was her sailboat tiny too? Like the one she had seen inside a bottle at the souvenir shop? This is a pearl inside some kind of shell. This is Aunt Mary's waffles. This is a sailboat. These are shells. This is a shell. So are these. This is a crab. This is a starfish. And this is a boat in a bottle. Just then, there was a knock at the door. "Jason," said Aunt Mary on her way to answer it, "your ship has come in." "Boat?" said Jason. "Sailboat." A girl with a long blonde ponytail ambled into the kitchen. She was older than Jason and a lot taller too. "Pleased to meet you," she said, staring at the floor. "I'm Pearl." "Have a seat, Pearl," said Mary, setting another waffle on the table. "So your mom says you're an expert sailor?" I was born on a sailboat," said Pearl, digging into her waffle. I love to live on a boat," said Jason. "Have you guys ever been on one?" asked Pearl. Jason shrugged and said, "We know better than to call the front the pointy end." "That's a start," said Pearl, smiling. "At least you won't have any bad habits to break." After breakfast, Pearl, Amelia, Bedelia, and Jason hopped on their bikes and headed to the marina where Pearl docked her boat. These are seashells. This is either Amelia Bedelia's mom or Aunt Mary. This is Amelia, Bedelia, and Jason on a dock with, I think, is Pearl, and this might be Pearl too, looking at a boat. The boat was a beauty built of real wood with shiny brass fittings. "Mother and father of Pearl," said Jason, laughing. "That's the name of your boat?" "I had to give my parents credit," said Pearl. "This boat was a wreck when they bought it for me, but I managed to fix it up and now I keep it shipshape." As they put on life jackets, Amelia Bedelia wondered what other shape a ship would be. Car shape, plane shape, dog shape. Pearl unid the lines holding her boat to the pier. She showed Jason how to hoist the sails. When a breeze filled the sails, they began moving out into the bay. What makes a sailboat sail? Asked Pearl. That's easy, said Amelia and Bedelia. Wind blows against the sails, and that pushes the boat through the water, added Jason. Right, said Pearl. That works as long as the wind is blowing in the direction you want it to go, like now. This is a picture of a sailboat. Or a sailboat in a car shape. This is a sailboat in a plane shape. And this is a sailboat in a dog shape. And this is Amelia, Bedelia, Jason, and Pearl on the sailboat in the sea. Or water. But how are we going to get back? What if you need to go? What if you need to go where the wind is blowing from? Amelia and Bedelia looked at Jason. He didn't have a clue either. They shrugged. Don't we have to wait for the wind to change directions? Asked Jason. You could, said Pearl, or you could turn toward the wind and adjust the sails to take advantage of it. Sails are simply giant vertical wings like on an airplane. The force in front of the sail actually drags the boat forward through the water instead of pushing it from behind. Pearl grabbed a notebook and drew a sketch to show how the sail works. These are whirlwinds, I believe. And this is the sketch Pearl drew, Amelia, Bedelia, and Jason. Physics of sailing. Destination. Lift created by faster air pulls boat forward. Air moves, low pressure, taking faster over curve. Air moves slower, high pressure. 1. Going the same direction as the wind, sails worked by catching the wind, but going into the wind, a sail acts like an airplane wing standing on end. A sail isn't a flat sheet of cloth. It is swing together so it is curved like an airplane wing. So the air has to travel. So the air traveling over the top side of the curve has to travel faster than the air on the underside because it has farther to go. Lift, faster air. Lift, slower air. 3. Wind moving across the front of the sail actually pulls the boat forward. Smiley face. Sailing back and forth against the wind is called tacking. If you don't do it right, you can actually go faster than the wind itself, said Pearl, as they sailed along. Faster than the wind? said Jason. That's impossible. No, that's science, said Amelia and Bedelia. The lessons continued as they sailed closer and closer to an island in the bay. Have you ever been to that island before, Pearl? Asked Amelia and Bedelia. Nope, said Pearl. I have sailed around it in races, but I've never bothered to go ashore. Funny how you don't usually do things right on your front doorstep. Or on your starboard side, said Amelia and Bedelia. Very good, said Pearl. You'll be a sailor in no time. Pearl pushed the tiller over and steered closer to the island for a better look. Jason stood up. Land, what? The sailboat ran around with a jolt, tossing him off the bow and into the shallow water. "Man overboard!" yelled Pearl. "Where?" yelled Amelia and Bedelia. "I only see Jason." This is Amelia, Bedelia, and Pearl talking with the island in the background. And this is Amelia and Bedelia with a confused look. "I'm okay," Jason called back. It was so shallow he could stand. "It's a sandbar," said Pearl. "Sorry, but Jason knows standing up while sailing. If the wind had shifted, this sail would have swung around. You could have been hit in the boom and knocked out." "He was knocked out," said Amelia and Bedelia. "Knocked out of the boat?" "True," said Pearl as she lowered the sails and dropped the anchor to keep the boat from drifting away. Then they waded ashore. The beach was covered with seaweed and driftwood and shells. The island was overgrown with bushes and vines. They could hear birds chirping. They found a narrow path and followed it to an old cottage. The roof sagged, but the sturdy walls were still standing. "Knock, knock. Anyone home?" Jason rapped on the front door. The door creaked on its hinges, then slowly fell into the house with a crash. This is Jason standing in the water. And this is Amelia, Bedelia, Jason, and Pearl walking on the path toward the cottage on that little island with bushes and vines. "I hope there are no rats or bats or snakes in here," Jason said. He walked into the cottage, into what must have once been the living room. Amelia, Bedelia, and Pearl were right behind him. "If you're trying to scare me," said Pearl, "it won't work." They stood close together, letting their eyes adjust to the gloom. The room had floor-to-ceiling windows on 3 sides, but the glass was missing. Tall bushes growing outside had begun to reach into the house. "Hey, what's in those bushes?" asked Jason. Now they could see hundreds, maybe thousands of black, shiny, beady eyes. Amelia, Bedelia, Jason, and Pearl froze like small birds under the spell of a snake. Thousands of eyes stared back at them, unblinking. "If you're trying to scare me," said Amelia, Bedelia, "it's working." This is Amelia, Bedelia, Pearl, and Jason walking into the little cottage a little bit scared. And this is Amelia, Bedelia with a scared look. Bye everyone, I'll read you chapter 7 tomorrow.